This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is a Fast Break Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys?
And Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And today, we are going to be recapping Game 1 and talking about if the Cleveland Cavaliers can be pulling the upset on the Golden State Warriors. We're also going to be jumping in and talking about the Brian Colangelo, burner accounts, and seeing what the future for the 76ers is if he gets fired or when he gets fired, because it's looking like it's closing in on Brian Colangelo's time in Philadelphia. Then we're going to be talking about the Celtics trading up for Mo Bamba. Should it happen? All of that here on the Fast Break Podcast. Before we do that, on your one-stop shop for all NBA news and discussion. First up, check out patreon.com/MostValuablePodcast. If you want to be on a podcast, be on a segment, pick the segment, head over to patreon.com/MostValuablePodcast. Check out that $10 tier. Also, check out MostValuablePodcast.com. I did some writing for a job interview or resume, and you can check it out. It's How Does Luka Doncic Fit on the Chicago Bulls? If you want to check that out over on MostValuablePodcast.com. You could also check out our gear if you want to buy an MVP shirt. And also, if you're listening on iTunes, rate us 5 stars, both the Onside Kick. Why do I always say both? The Onside Kick, the Fast Break, the Primetime Podcast, the Ricky Jotty Podcast, and also if you're on YouTube, check out the Outcast. Buzz and Juice put out a great podcast every single week. But boys, we got to talk about it. Game 1 just got done. LeBron James put up 51 points. J.R. Smith made one of the biggest boneheaded plays we've ever seen, and the Cavs should have won that game. But again, we can go through every blown call by the refs. We can go through J.R. Smith grabbing the offensive board and pulling it out. Plain and simple, the Cavs lost. Warriors are up 1-0. Ricky, I'm going to go to you first. Okay. Can the Cavs still pull off the upset, or was that the nail in the coffin, losing Game 1 the way they did?
Now, the thing that, with me, I kind of want to say, can they? I want to go with maybe. I'm not in the yes, I'm not in the no, because for me, I was shocked with what I was seeing in Game 1. I was expecting, I know we didn't record a podcast before the finals, but like in my head when I'm thinking about what would my prediction be, I was like, well, can I pick Warriors in 3? Like, that's how much of a blowout
I think you said that last year, too.
I thought it was going to be, and I didn't expect it to be a tie game going into regulation. I didn't even expect the Cavs to be leading at the end of the first quarter, and after Game 1, we got the same exact answers, though, that I think we all were expecting. This Cavs team, is only going to go as far as LeBron James takes them.
Well, and one thing, too, is not only was I wasn't really shocked that they were leading by after 1, but I was shocked that even after the third quarter Warriors went off to start that third quarter, that Cleveland got right back into the game, and that even the fourth quarter. Came back in. Well, yeah, but even even when LeBron was out, they went on a couple runs. So I mean, it wasn't even when LeBron was off, they didn't they weren't killing it.
I say a team effort.
Yeah, LeBron was a -2 when even throughout the whole game. I mean, again, obviously they lost the game, and he was on the 10-point blowout side in OT, but still the Cavs weren't bad when LeBron was off the floor. But the thing that was just surprising, that even going into the fourth quarter, it was as close as it was, and it felt like Cleveland still had the momentum to pull it off. And then, Dave, we get down to the last 3 minutes, and all hell breaks loose. Bad foul calls, no calls made, and the clear JR move. Can the Cavs come back in this one?
Yeah, I absolutely believe they can. What they showed in Game 1 is that they have a game plan, at least, to how to efficiently get at the Warriors. They had a bunch of open looks throughout the game. They didn't convert on them, which is kind of one of their biggest problems, is when you miss wide open threes, you're not doing yourself any service. That's exactly how the Rockets lost, was missing open threes. We saw it again. It seems interesting that the Warriors are willing to give them the shots, though. I'm wondering now, is this a trend? Is this just the Warriors' perimeter defense? They're not so concerned, even though teams have good sharpshooters out there. They're just like, we'll roll with the odds.
Well, I think the biggest thing, and it feels weird because I feel like they can't pull it off. And I've been the one that's, before the playoffs started, I picked the Cavs to win. And before, we like you said, Ricky, we didn't pick up, our predictions, but I probably would have said Golden State in 7 or 6. I still felt like Cleveland had a shot, but the way they lost with J.R. Smith, grabbing the offensive board, not putting it back up, even if he missed it, even if he got fouled, and even if he missed those 2 foul shots, even if they'd still went into overtime, it would have been a different story because Golden State wouldn't have that ammunition of, all right, giving the game to you. I mean, that's a deflating way to lose. Cleveland wasn't focused because they're focusing on the fact that they should have won, and Golden State's feeling like they have a brand new life. So that overtime could have been completely different. Golden State might have won, but it might have been closer than what we saw. The way that they lost was absolutely demoralizing, and I think the one thing, too, is we saw Golden State back off on the shooters, and obviously, them grabbing the boards like that because they were getting beat up on the offensive boards and just boards all around. I think 19 offensive boards for Cleveland. But whenever Golden State was able to take a defensive board, they were running back immediately, and Cleveland had no way to stop them in transition. Like, their transition D was absolutely horrid in game one, and seeing the momentum they took into overtime, and seeing the fact that, again, Klay, Steph, and KD all had 24 points in that game, and they might be getting Andre Iguodala back. I think this was the game that Cleveland needed to win, and the fact that they lost it the way they did is just taking the wins out of their sails. Maybe they go to 6, maybe it goes to 7, but I don't think Cleveland's able to pull it off because that game, I think, is going to be the turning point, and it's game one. Game one's pretty much the decider in my mind that I don't think Cleveland can come back, even with LeBron James having heroic efforts, even if they're starting to hit their open threes. I just don't see it possible because I think Golden State just got enough ammunition and enough motivation to win this game solely off of game one.
Well, and I mean, you said it. Andre Iguodala is the big question mark because game 2 is going to be, to me, the most crucial of the series for the Cavs and the Warriors, but more so for the Cavs because how do you overcome just everything that happened at the end? The J.R. Smith incident happened, and then even in overtime, it was like the Warriors took over, and it was all Warriors from there on out. Yeah, there was a little bit of the
Golden
Warriors
State didn't
becoming
miss,
the
Cleveland
Warriors,
missed every single shot.
But also, I feel like that moment just shook the Cavs. And will that be the same thing coming out of the... Because, yeah, LeBron gets 2 days. He gets Friday, Saturday, and then plays on Sunday. But also, you give Andre Iguodala that time to rest up. And I know everyone is like, oh, well, why are we calling him the LeBron stopper? But... the thing I look at is
Sean, I can hear the eyes roll back.
No, the more important thing is I'm not calling him a LeBron stopper. Is the last time Andre Iguodala played, this team was up 2-1, probably wouldn't have went to Game 7 against the Rockets, and he's a big reason why that series went to 7 and will be a big help to the Warriors.
I'm not rolling it saying LeBron stopper. I mean, we've seen Andre Iguodala be a great defender against LeBron James. I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying that, again, maybe LeBron goes below 40 points per game when Andre Iguodala comes back. But the thing that was yesterday, it wasn't the fact that KD couldn't stop him, Draymond couldn't stop him. They were switching so much, and Steph ended up on LeBron pretty much every single play of the last 3 minutes of that game.
And the Warriors don't want that.
Well, clearly not.
Yeah.
Why would you want the mismatch of just height and weight right there? And then also the fact that Steph can't guard LeBron because he's quicker, faster, better, and stronger than Steph is, at least defensively, offensively.
But that's the crazy thing is LeBron wasn't using the size to his advantage. He wasn't backing him down over and over. It was more so him trying to beat him and create shots. And like you said, Steph is quick enough to stick with somebody.
One thing that somebody said, he's quick enough, but also, I mean, LeBron, if he puts his butt into Steph Curry, he's going to be able to back him down.
He uses his size, but he wasn't. It didn't look like he was doing everything he could have.
He wasn't. I forgot who I was listening to earlier today, but it looked like LeBron James was afraid to shoot free throws because again, like we know the struggles LeBron has had throughout his career. Again, he was great last night from the line. I think he was 11 from 12. But I think one thing is to see he looked afraid. He looked timid to drive on Steph Curry. But he still could have taken Curry, and he still could have shot it over him. I mean, again, Steph, even if he's quick. I'm still taking LeBron James offensively to defensively. But the one thing I want to bring up is, is Golden State going to change their game plan when Iggy comes back to make sure that Steph isn't switched on to Bron? Because that was the biggest thing. It wasn't really the matchups that Bron had, but it was just the fact that they kept switching to Steph. Is that going to change, Dave? Do you think that's going to be something that Golden State goes in, or is it just going to keep switching and keep their defense the same way it was?
So they're going to keep switching. I don't think that's their defensive plan, but because they're going to keep switching, I think you're still going to see more matchups of Iguodala and LeBron than Steph. It's not switching just to switch, it's switching with purpose, and that's the thing to keep in mind. When you have someone like Iguodala who, obviously we've seen this matchup enough times because it's been a rematch for the last 3 years, but like you see this happen, and remember, I know it's way back now, but when Iggy hurt his back in that final series,
that was the
and
one
how much that changed
won.
The game. I think that you have Iggy. I know he's a couple years older now, but if you have him coming back and well rested now, there's a very serious chance that he can be a huge defensive contributor. Because he doesn't need to on the offensive end. He just needs to focus completely on the defensive end, making sure those switches he clamps down on LeBron.
And the thing I want to bring up is, because I wanted to jump in on going back to like the Steph LeBron thing. Yeah. To me, and I think this will piss off Sean a little bit. I'm not trying to, but I think it will. The biggest moment of the game for me was 7.7 seconds left in the game. You've got LeBron top of the key, guarded by who? Steph Curry. Now, looking at when I looked at it full speed, my first thing is, and of course I was kind of GOAT debate, kind of to bait you in with that, but my whole thing was just with LeBron. I'm like, why are you 7.7 seconds left? You're down by 1. Why are you not trying to create, get the final shot? Why are you standing there with the ball out like this? Where to me, if I'm Steph Curry, as soon as LeBron put that ball, I'm like, okay, he's getting ready to drive. Then he's just standing there, and I'm like, why are you looking to pass? You're LeBron James. You should be.
That's what LeBron James does.
But what I'm saying is, at that moment, best player in the world, put the team on your back, win the game for your team. However, looking back after when I looked at the replay, the good thing that the Warriors did defensively that I didn't see when it was going full speed was you had George Hill and JR on the wings to the side. That means Durant and Draymond were right at the elbow. So it's like, you know what? I'm going to drive, and if I do drive, I'm going to have to kick it out to a shooter. I would have preferred that over what we saw with LeBron just trying to
So you didn't like the
pass.
fact that he passed it to an open George Hill who got fouled and then went to the line for 2 when George Hill, I think, career is above an 80% free throw shooter. You didn't like the fact that he was giving George Hill 2 free throws when they needed 2 points to win the game.
The free throws, we didn't know that was going to happen. Like that wasn't like
LeBron was setting it up.
Going to do there.
LeBron saw the contact that was happening. George Hill had the cut on him. It wasn't like it was a bad play. It was clear what happened. LeBron James fired a bullet because he saw the contact that was being created by George Hill. So that's why the pass happened. And the thing with LeBron is that was a smart play because you're sending George Hill to the line. Yes, maybe LeBron doesn't have that alpha male in him, but if you win game 1, it doesn't matter who hits the game-winning shots. It doesn't matter how you win. If you escape Golden State with a victory in Oakland in game 1, it doesn't matter how you win. It doesn't matter if you're the alpha dog. It doesn't matter how it's going to affect the GOAT debate because that's going to help you win a championship, which is going to help you more for the GOAT debate instead of hitting the shot over Steph Curry or driving and then dishing it out.
I'm not even bringing in the GOAT debate. I'm just saying.
Like, what's the point of
shot,
this? The fact that he didn't take the final shot? Is that what you're saying?
Not even just the final shot. I wanted to see more of an assertive LeBron of like, all right, I am going to either try to drive.
Him firing a 90-mile-per-hour fastball to George Hill isn't assertive enough?
No, I wanted to see him drive in, either cause contact, go to the line, or
So you just wanted LeBron to do it?
No. Find a way to, he drives, Clay then comes in. I want Kyle Korver in the corner taking that shot over anyone else on this team besides LeBron.
So why would you take a lower percentage shot? Why would you take a 37% shot from Kyle Korver in the corner when you have 2 80% shots in George Hill at the line? It makes absolutely no sense what you're saying.
Because what I'm
saying... It makes no sense about what you're saying
is
for winning the basketball game. It doesn't matter.
When LeBron's at the top of the key and his hand's out like this, you're telling me LeBron James told the future and like, we're going to go to the line for 2 shots.
He saw the contact. It was clear what was happening.
No.
George Hill had the cut going to the bucket, and he had the lead on him. So either the pass was going to hit George Hill, and George Hill was going to get fouled from behind,
I am
going up with the shot,
before the cut even happens. When everyone's just standing there, and he's just standing there with the ball in his hand.
So you want him to drive with 7.7 seconds left?
Not exactly 7.7, but I wanted to see LeBron put the team on his back, and I'm going to take the final shot because I am this team. We talk about it all the time where it's like, LeBron's the team, put the team on your back.
Again, the question that I was asking, you just wasted 3 minutes on this podcast, was the fact that you wanted LeBron to take the final shot.
Yes, I did. In that moment, game on the line, I'm putting it on you because you don't have Kyrie to take it.
It doesn't, again, what the point I'm trying to make is, and where you're not coming back with an argument or coming back because it's stupid, if LeBron wins the game, you're looking back at a 40-plus point performance, a 50% shot from LeBron James, an all-time a great performance in that game, and a win in Oakland in game 1, and we're talking about a completely different series than what we're talking about right now. If you win the game, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter who's hit the shot, because when we look back, LeBron got a ring for Cleveland. It doesn't matter that Kyrie hit the shot. Now, I do want to bring up, again, Steve Kerr said that Iguodala is going to be doubtful for Game 2, so he's most likely not going to play in Game 2, but he's going to come back at some point. And we're talking about, can they win the series? It doesn't matter who's hitting the shots, but it matters if they're going to be able to win the series. Dave, what do you think is going to be the most important game? Is it just winning at home for Cleveland? Is it going to be winning Game 2 in Oakland? Where do you think the most decisive games are going to be happening down the next stretch? Is it going to be the next game? Is it going to be the games in Cleveland? Where do you see this series kind of unfolding and taking the next steps?
I think right now they have to be entirely focused on Game 2. any chance that they can get to win in Oakland early in this series, the better chance you'll have. Because if they don't win in Oakland, you have to defend home court 100% because it turns into like back-to-back. It's like, okay, the next game up is always the most important game, period. I know you're saying like pick a game, but to be honest, when it comes down to it, if they don't win game 2, you have to win home court and you still have to win a game in Oakland. And now you're looking at it going, all right, do we have the momentum with us? Are we gonna, if we falter at home, now we're completely screwed. Like, you have to be all in towards the next game. And knowing that you now saw the flaws in Golden State, knowing that you're like, look, if we're one stupid mistake, one missed call, one bad call away from taking this as a advantage us going home, let's do it. We got this in the bag. We can do this.
Well,
like,
Ricky,
it should be a huge momentum for them. Even though they lost, they still have a huge pile of positives to take away, knowing we didn't shoot our best, but we still had a shot. We still had all these opportunities to win this game.
And Ricky, one thing that I want to build off what Dave said is, obviously you got to protect home court, and you want to win a game as early in Oakland as you possibly can. Well, let's look at that Boston series. It pretty much happened that way. They lost 2 in Boston, defended home court, were undefeated there, and then had to win in Boston in Game 7. Can that happen for Cleveland, or do they have to get a win early? Or can they take it, maybe going back to the 2015 finals when Cleveland ended up getting the ring, winning in Game 7 in Oakland? Can they take that route, or is it necessary that they win either Game 2 or Game, I think it's 5 in Golden State?
You never want to say, like, oh, that Game 2 is a must-win game, but much like the Houston Rockets when we were talking about them down 0-1, this is a must-win for Cleveland. If Cleveland loses Game 2, series is over, goodbye. Thanks for coming to the finals. And the reason why I say that is going off of what Dave said. Not only what happened in this game and how demoralized and deflated this Cavs team is, I also look at it and I go, did this team give everything that they got in Game 1 to try to steal one, and they just will never get back to that level? I'm not saying talent level. I'm saying, like, we gave all of our energy to try to win this one, and then we lost. Take that on top of how demoralizing it is. Will they even be able to replicate that in a game in Oakland?
Well, let's say Game 2 is just close. Does that make it a little more easier? Because, hey, now we've played 2 close games in Oakland. We didn't win it. We should have won Game 1, and Game 2 was at least close. It's not like last year where there were like 20-point game blowouts. If it's close in Game 2, does that make it a little bit easier? Because, hey, now we get to go.
No.
Now we get to go to Cleveland, where we're going to have home court, and it's just really home court that's deciding these games.
I would say no, and the only reason why I would say no is with Boston. The big difference between that and Boston, because I know you're trying to do it the whole like, oh, we lost in Boston, we defended home court. I thought that if we get to a Game 7, if we do, this Warriors team is not going to do what the Celtics did. They are much more experienced. They are much better than what the Celtics were. The Celtics were very young and experienced, and we saw that in Game 7.
But Dave, one thing I want to bring up is let's look at the Rockets Golden State Game 7, where Golden State needed Houston to miss 27 straight threes to win that game. And let's look at least back in 2015 when the Warriors lost Game 7 at home, where LeBron had the triple-double. I mean, it looks like they can be beaten now. I mean, obviously it was a different team back in 2015 when KD wasn't on the team. But do you think that there's enough there where, again, maybe if they do go to a Game 7, LeBron does have the ability to pull this out? Because, I mean, we almost saw that in Game 1.
No, I think LeBron creates a fighter's chance in every game he's in. There's no way you can count out LeBron James. It sounds ridiculous to say because you get 4 All-Stars versus 1.5, because I don't know if Kevin Love will be healthy throughout the entire series.
Well, we also can't say that Golden State's going to be entirely healthy either.
Well, that's the thing, too. I mean, we've seen Klay Thompson obviously miss some time this game from a collision, but, like, I honestly think there's no way to count out. The one thing that Ricky mentioned about blowouts, like, that's the thing. We watched Houston get punched in the mouth. Like, Game 3 was 126-85. Like, it wasn't even close. And to be fair, even Game 1, they pulled ahead huge third quarter, fourth quarter. It kept the distance. These games, as long as they can keep these games close, there's always a chance LeBron James can bring your team back into it. Because as crazy as the fast break offense is, as crazy as the third quarter shooting can get, like, LeBron James has the calm, has the cool, has the experience to lead a bunch of guys out there. And as long as Ty Lue puts the right guys in, what I get pissed is when he puts out bad lineups. But as long as he puts in good shooting lineups, LeBron can court general them back into a game.
The only thing I worry about is not the thing that you said where, if we keep it close, LeBron can maybe push us over the edge. To me, going back to what Sean said, does it matter if, we lost game 2, but it was close? I would say no, because in the end, you lost the game, and I wonder if you're expending as much energy as you did in game 1 to lose close, then you're down 2-0, then you're down 3-0. When does that on this team, not LeBron, the entire team, take its toll, and the rest of the team besides LeBron goes, we can't do
Hasn't Golden State given the same amount of energy? I mean, you had to fight without Clay for pretty much, I think, the rest of the first quarter until he came back in the second quarter. You still had to play the same amount of minutes that the Cleveland Cavaliers did. You still had to fight back being down at halftime. You had to still fight back even down late in the fourth quarter. And yes, OT looked like a breeze for Golden State, but I mean, they still expended the same amount of energy and just played a 7-game series.
From watching the game, it looked like the Cavaliers had a different gear and were, I don't want to say giving it more, but because they were the underdog coming in, because the cards are stacked against them, it felt like they were working harder and had the Warriors, maybe it's just their team. Like they said in the Rocket series, yeah, we're down 11, whatever, that's 2 minutes for us. Like they always seem like, we're down by this much, doesn't matter, we're going to right the ship, calm, cool, collect, where the Cavs team felt like they were working so hard just to win the game, and then when shit hits the fan, we get the JR incident.
Now, I want to say a couple of things here, because one, I don't think that any player in the finals is working less hard than another. I think they're all giving it everything they can. I think the sense of urgency is what you're seeing, and the not panic is the word, but like everybody's trying as hard as they can. But I think
it's
the difference
like
is
going
the
out
floor
there
and ceiling of the Warriors' performance versus the floor and ceiling of the Cavs to win a game is very different. The Cavs need to perform at 90 to 100% of what they can put out there. Meanwhile, the Warriors, 80 on a good night can get them a win because they have so much talent and so many guys can deliver.
The Cavaliers 100 could be like 75%.
Hold on. This is something I want to stop, and then I'm gonna throw this out there, and then we're gonna talk about what each team needs to do to win this series. Sure. Based on especially what we saw in Game 1. I understand what you're saying, that the Cavs, it looked like the Cavs played their best game, and it looks like Golden State, weren't even at their best, pretty much. It didn't look like Golden State was firing at 100%, and they still won this game, and it looked like the Cavs were giving it their all, like Ricky was alluding to, where, and they didn't even win this game. Like, the Cavs gave as much as they did, and, Golden State, didn't even try that much, and they still won the game. I still feel like
the word Cavs, try is wrong. Sorry.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, the Cavs, like, again, the Cavs didn't play their best basketball, and the Warriors didn't play their best, is what we're trying to allude to. But I disagree with that because, as Banana Shamrock, a great name on Reddit, pointed out, this is the first time in over 4 months, January 25th, that Clay, Curry, and Durant all scored 24-plus points. The Cavs, as a team, took 20 wide-open three-pointers, defenders 6+ feet away, and made just 6 of them. That's only 30%. The Cavs' 3 best three-point shooters, Korver, JR, and Love, combined for 4 of 17 from 3, 23%. That's obviously going to change throughout this series. The Warriors' non-All-Star cast, everyone but Clay, Dre, Curry, KD, went 14 of 20. I mean, again, remember the JaVale McGee to start the third quarter. He went off. So, I mean, that's not going to happen. There's no way that you're going to see that performance again, 70% from the cast around it. I mean, is JaVale McGee going to have the same quarter that he did to start the third quarter? No. The guy got rejected by the rim with no one around him. And then the Cavs supporting cast, everybody but Love and LeBron, went 16 of 47 from the field, 34%, which is garbage. I mean, that's horrible right there. And we saw Tristan Thompson miss a couple easy ones. Jeff Green wasn't that great last night. So, again, like, looking at the numbers and even on the floor, it looked like the Cavs were trying harder. Or it looks like the Cavs were at least
the sense of urgency.
The urgency was more. But again, they didn't play that great of basketball. So maybe when they do go to Cleveland, the pressure's off a little bit and they can relax. We saw that in the Boston series. So that's what I'm alluding to. So looking at what happened in Game 1, what do the Cavs need to do for the rest of the games to win this series? What changes do they need to make in their game plan from Game 1 to the rest of the series?
I'm not going to go real...
And obviously it's going to change game from game, but at
I'm
least
not going to go in
based off
depth of anything. Mine is simple. Defend home court, hope you can get a Jeff Green game for one of the games in Oakland, because that's the only way I see the Cavaliers winning this. If they defend their home court like they did against Boston, because we have seen now for 8 games, the story has been the same. The Cavalier role players don't play that well. I'm not saying everyone didn't play well yesterday, but like you said, some of the numbers were not as good as they could have been. Don't play well on the road, play a lot better at home, except for that Game 7 where we had the Jeff Green performance. They need a performance like that in Oakland while defending home court. That's plain and simple.
Either for the Cavs or Warriors, what do these teams need to do to really put on the pressure and make sure they win the series, Dave?
Yeah, we're going to need some more hot sauce out of Kyle. I'll be honest, like he's one of the guys who I love to watch out there, but at the same time, I know because of matchups, Ty Lue doesn't keep him in the game long enough. Even if he's having a good night, like last night he was only 1 of 3, still a plus 10 on the floor. Like I get it, it's the crew you're out there with and it's the situation, but still, he's someone who you want to keep engaged in the game. He's someone who, if you get him started hot early, you keep rolling with him. He takes minutes away from other guys because he keeps you at the same pace as the Warriors. He can knock down threes just as easily as they can.
But is his defense a liability because he's not the best defensive player? And against the Warriors.
It depends on the matchup on the Warriors because if you're going out there with someone where you can hide him on Draymond Green on the outside, if Draymond's playing outside by the 3-point line,
I was
like
shocked he hit that 3 in overtime.
He had a couple.
He's missed so many.
2 big ones.
Yeah, but he's missed so many of these playoffs.
And that's the thing. He was 2 out of 5 from the 3 from behind the arc. So, like, yes, you can hide his defense to some extent. He still tries. It's just so, like, his body, he can't, take the pounding. So, I think you need more out of him. And like you said, a Green game away would be amazing because we talk about...
The most inconsistent player in the NBA.
That's his name. He's up, he's down, he's all over the place. When he's on, though. For the Warriors side, honestly, you just need to keep consistently shooting. Like, keep the pace up. Keep him running. That's how you win games. You tire out LeBron James. If you keep the pace of play at such a high and quick rate, there's no way with all the switching, all the movement, all the passing, they just can't keep up.
And that's the biggest thing for me. If Golden State starts, grabbing more defensive boards and they're able to push that pace, like you said, there's no way Cleveland comes back in this one. And I think that's going to happen. Maybe Cleveland's able to push it to 6 or 7 because they do have some momentum. But if Golden State's at least able to shrink that rebounding difference and at least take away more shots from Cleveland, it's going to be a completely different series because that pace is going to be pushed. And we saw even there was a ton of times there was just 3-on-1 fast breaks where Cleveland had one guy back and they weren't able to really get anyone coming back on backside pressure. It was just consistent ball moving, bang, 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 and they were getting easy shots. So that's the biggest thing for Golden State. If they're able to do that, this series is going to be a runaway. But if they're not able to do that, Cleveland still dominates the boards. First off, Cleveland needs to get in their sets quicker. And there's so many times where LeBron James is just, pretty much ISO, just staring down his guy, trying to make a move, and they starts driving, and, he ends up hitting the shot or at least drawing contact and going to the rim. But there's so many times where, again, if you're going up against an Iguodala, if you're going up against a Durant, most of the time, or for most of the time, they're going to make you take a difficult shot, and not all of those are going to sink in. So they need to get in their sets quicker. They need to start running more plays for JR. They need to start running more plays for Kyle Korver. They need to start running more plays for K-Love. And even if it ends up in a LeBron basket, you need to start throwing sets at Golden State and at least make them run around the court instead of just simple switches. Let's get the the worst guy like I think David West was on LeBron for one play. Get a Pat McCaw. Get a Steph on LeBron. You need to get into more sets. I think that's the biggest thing. And then also quit passing Jordan Clarkson the ball and get him out of the lineup. Put in Rodney Hood. Put in CeeDee. I don't care. Jordan Clarkson cannot be in
Rodney
this.
Hood might not want to play. He might say, "No, coach, I'm good. I don't want to go."
I don't care. Put him in. Force him in because Jordan Clarkson can't be on there. Jordan Clarkson was so bad last night. He's been so bad for the past couple games of the playoffs. Get him out of there. Let me see more Larry Nance. Let me see more CeeDee Osman. Jordan Clarkson has been absolutely horrible. Just absolutely garbage. You need to get him off the floor because, again, he's not a plus defender and he's not a plus offensive player at all. He's not hitting his shots. He's not passing the ball. The ball stalls in his hands. And maybe that's some part of not running sets, which I alluded to a little bit earlier, but just Jordan Clarkson looks lost out there and you need to get him off the floor. Even more lost than JR with 4.1 seconds left grabbing an offensive board. But would have been completely different if that ball goes up and we would never know what happens. Even if he misses it and it goes to OT, we never know what happened in that OT. But absolutely crazy ending to Game 1. Let us know what you think. Camera went off. Let us know what you think. Your thoughts of Game 1 and if Cleveland still has a shot in this series.